very good evening and welcome to This Is The Day. My name is Sarah Otieno. We are live on Family TV and also live on Family Radio.
And I'm Frederick Njiri.
What do we have today?
Well, Kenya COVID cases hit the 1,000 mark on a day that saw at least 66 people test positive. And then later on we'll tell you why the color of the food that you eat is so important during this time.
Well, that and much more coming in on this hour of the show. The WhatsApp number that you can use to join our discussion is 0786-316-316, SMS line 20316, on Facebook and Twitter at Family Radio 316.
Now, Sarah, do you remember a time when the president said, actually called on the water companies not to pressure Kenyans on paying their bills during this period? Well, that honeymoon is over because the Council of Governors, led by Kakamega Governor Wycliffe Oparanya, has today issued a statement directing Kenyans to pay their water bills or risk disconnection. Now, Oparanya says the directive from the national government not to disconnect water was actually targeted at the informal settlements. He says that the decision by other Kenyans not to pay the bills was making it impossible for the water companies to operate. The county heads also highlighted a potential crisis arising from an accumulation of electricity bills since the outbreak of the COVID-19.
Well, that is what is happening in different parts of the countries, and it is unfortunate because during this time, hygiene is key, and we have many people. It's actually a requirement to wash your hands, and without water, that could be a disaster.
True, you know, we love free things as Kenyans. So when the president said, go easy on these guys when it comes to electricity and water bills, well, majority of people just decided not to pay, even those who could.
Well, very unfortunate there. Now, the COVID-19 cases in Kenya have risen to 1,029 today, crossing the mark of the 1,000 mark, even as the government intensified efforts to prevent a further spread of the virus nationally. According to the Health CS Mutahi Kagwe, 66 more people tested positive in the last 24 hours.
Actually, was the highest since the pandemic began at 66 persons, with 64 of those being Kenyans and two others being foreign nationals. We have also continued to see the rise across the counties. Mombasa continues to be the challenge, with 30 of those cases being in Mombasa and 26 of those cases being in Nairobi.
Well, with the increased infections, the CS said that the National Emergency Response Committee has extended the cessation of movement in Nairobi's Eastleigh Estate and Mombasa Old Town to the 6th of June. This even as it emerged that the two regions are still hotspots.
Is an extension of the cessation of movement in and out of Eastleigh, Old Town, Mombasa, until the 6th of June 2020. In addition to that, the malls, the eateries, restaurants are supposed to remain closed and hawking prohibited until Saturday, the 6th of June 2020. This, ladies and gentlemen, is essential to keep the areas you contained, so that in the next few days we can finally bring some form of control towards those areas, so that the disease does not continue spreading.
Well, the ambassador to the Federal Republic of Germany to Kenya, Annette Gunther, said the German government is aiding Kenya's capacity expansion to test more COVID-19 cases as the country battles the virus. This arrangement will help provide needed resources and experts against the virus disease.
A key pillar in this strategy is strengthening of laboratory network across the region. The Federal Republic of Germany through the German Development Bank, has already supported the establishment of a regional network of public health reference laboratories for communicable diseases. These labs will therefore strengthen each partner state's capacity in this area.
Part of this German support, financed through KfW, is the supply of mobile laboratories to all 6 member states. 2 of those mobile testing laboratories to Kenya, which you see here on the side, and they consist of, as you can see, cars and lots of testing materials and whatever is needed for such a mobile laboratory. They will enable our Kenyan partners to detect communicable diseases on the ground and react accordingly.
Well, we hit the 1,000 mark, and that is really sad.
Yeah, it's really sad. And I hope we finally come out with a cure for these things. You know that the other day we were talking about that concoction from Madagascar. Hiya. It turns out the WHO has actually decided to, have this thing tested. It might actually not be as Madogodanyo as I thought it was. It might actually be the silver bullet that takes out this thing. Let's see what happens in a short while.
Well, we'll be talking about that, and you can also join in the discussions that we are having today. Every story that you feel you have an input to add on. WhatsApp number 0786 316 316, SMS line 20316.
We started off by terming this concoction as Madogodanyo, but right now maybe we need to start taking it seriously, because the African Union and the WHO have called for the clinical trials of Madagascar's purported cure for COVID-19. Though the World Health Organization is yet to endorse the COVID organics herbal remedy, some African countries are already ordering packages of the concoction.
We actually did get a call from the government of Madagascar. They did ask us that they would like to be assisted in the process of trying to validate and try and help to investigate the scientific basis on which such a drug could be used. I had a call with the Minister of Foreign Affairs of Madagascar, and there had been a call from the President, and we then have said that our scientific research institutions would be willing to support an analysis, as it were, on that matter. There's a herb which we used in my part of the land, which is called mhlonyana. Mhlonyana is actually used for fevers, for flus. When I grew up, we didn't go to hospital. We used mhlonyana. We used a lot of that. And so if you had fever, as young people we knew, you would go there and collect the stuff, and you use it for steaming and for drinking as a kind of tonic and when we come across those kinds of remedies that people are using, we make no comment about them. We just simply say we note that they are doing it. The only difference we get involved in as the department, as the government, is when you've got to deal with the scientific analysis of what is that herb, what is the active pharmaceutical ingredient in that herb that could be proven to scientifically, in a clinical trial, demonstrate an effect on a particular pathogen or a particular condition.
So you see, it's one of those concoctions that probably if you were to be seen peddling around the streets of Nairobi, like, I don't know whether you've seen a number of guys from mostly Maasai's walking around with containers around selling some froth-looking stuff.
They always have medicine for everything. So I don't know how it would go if you were caught selling this concoction in Kenya.
Well, let's see what happens with the WHO actually taking it seriously and deciding that we need to do tests of this. Maybe we need to see what is going to come out of this, because other countries, including Tanzania, are using it. And that brings us to one question. Do you think now with the increasing number of cases in the country, and there seemingly being no cure for this virus as yet, should the Kenyan government, decide to try this thing out?
That's the million-dollar question. Do you think our government should try out the concoction, what we called Madhogodhanio? Anyway, the WhatsApp number is 0786316316, SMS line 20316. Remember, Fred, the other day we had a discussion about whether churches should be reopened, and if they are, would you go back? We got quite a number of people with saying they're not ready yet.
True.
But the church community in Jamaica says it is committed to adhering to the government measures in an effort to remain open. Now, the religious institutions have been allowed to host regular church services. However, they must follow strict social gathering and social distancing rules. But while some church leaders are praising the government's decisions, others are not.
We have measured our buildings. We know what are the dimensions and how many people we can seat. And so we have our sanitizers, and at the front we have done all our temperature checks before into the building, and we are happy and we want to comply.
You call and register, so we know we're working with 50. Then what will happen? We'll have 400 persons converging here.
So there are persons in their car, they hung to say hallelujah. Some are beneath the tent, and then some are 6 feet apart in the building, and they're viewing the service via a live stream.
We want to go over 30. We can take up to 38, but we try not to go over that number. So they call in, they tell us their time. If it's full, then we advise them that that session is full, and we ask them please to come to the next session.
So in a crisis, you don't put a limit in of 10 in a hospital, nor in a rehab, nor in a drug center. So I wouldn't think it should be put on the church.
Do you think this can happen in Kenya, in our country? People just ensuring that they maintain the social distancing while also going to church?
That's my answer.
All right, tell us about the marriages.
Yes, for John and Mary, who were planning to go to the AG's office because they want to do the holy matrimony during this period. Unfortunately, you will have to postpone it a little bit because the government has indefinitely halted all marriage services at the office of the Attorney General. Through a letter dated May 19th, that's yesterday, and signed by the Registrar General, Mary Njuva, the state resorted to the move to curb the fast-spreading COVID-19 virus. Incidentally, what happened, Sarah, the whole place was packed yesterday. They had reopened on the 18th.
That is in Sharia House?
Yes, Sharia House. And because quite a number of people want to get married during this period, and you can't fault them. I mean, you're in the house all alone, and you had planned from the beginning of the year to hold your wedding sometime, probably this time, and now WHO has said this thing is going to be with us for longer. So quite a number of people had gone to the AG's office, and the AG said, this is not safe. We need to see how we can be able to do this better. And so they decided to postpone the whole thing. So lovebirds will have to wait for longer before they can do the matrimony.
Well, that is really sad. We are asking the question, do you think the government should allow in or even accept the organic herbal cure from Madagascar on the COVID-19? We already have you're saying your name is James, and you're saying this issue ya concoction, wacheni tu tuone what other countries will come up with. For the moment, let's stay put. That's his thought there. Thank you so much. You can also share your views, 0786 316 316. That is on WhatsApp, SMS line 20316. 316. In the meantime, during this time, different people have come up with different innovations to help curb the spread of coronavirus. The Juakali sector has not been left behind. Stanley Nganga from Eldoret Town has developed a machine that can be used as a spray booth to disinfect people, including doctors in the hospitals. He called on the government and the Ministry of Health to embrace innovations done by the Juakali sector to curb the spread of the virus.
Katika ile room ambao observation room ama mahali ambapo anatengenezea mgonjwa, daktari pia aoshwe na pia akitoka aoshwe, au daktari pia akimess, kwa sababu blanda huwa inatokea. Tunajua blanda huwa inatokea. Daktari akifeel amefanya blanda kidogo na yule mgonjwa pengine amerukiwa na yale maneno ambayo yanasemekana yanatoka kwa mdomo ama ile nini, anaweza kuja pia asimame pale na aweze kuoshwa upya na aweze kurudi. Ile rasilimali ambayo nimetumia kwa hiki chombo ni hizi nozzles ambazo huwa zina spray. Ingawaje hizi sasa tunazichanga drizzles, nozzles zile ambazo zinatoa maji ambayo sio mengi sana ya kulowesha. Na hizi ndio nimeona ambazo zinaweza kuwa the best. Na kitu ya pili nimetumia pipes. Hata hizi pipes ambazo nimetumia si za high pressure sana. Hizi ni za low quality. Hizi ni zile za stima. Nimetumia za stima, hizi zinaitwa conduit. Sijatumia zile nini kwa sababu hapa pressure haiendi ile kali zaidi kama ambayo huwa tunatumia kwa mashamba ya ngano. Na pia nimeweza kutumia waya ya stima na mota ambayo huwa hii hapo uspa, hii mota ndogo booster ndiye inaweza kuboost, alafu nimeifanyia utaalamu kidogo kwa sababu ni lazima iwe na return so that isiweze kudestroy zile pipes.
Creative unawetengenezea kitu klisa tokorea sika wasawa gate, unaona.
Kwa hivyo nashukuru sana kuwa mmoja kwa area yangu kubuni ama kusimamia mradi ambao umetengenezwa kwa kijiji changu, ambao ni mradi utasaidia hata Kenya mzima.
Well, different people are coming up with different innovations, and again, desperate times, desperate measures.
True.
So the other day we saw a young boy in Busia County who actually innovated a hands-free washing machine. He called it that because you only need to step on a pedal and get the soap on your hands and then get the water flowing. And people are being creative.
True. They say necessity is the mother of inventions.
Yeah.
And I'm so happy about my brothers from Kiambu who are doing better than my real brothers from Muranga. These guys, they've decided to go an extra mile and do something out of this world.
We have Ruben from Kisumu who responded to the question of the day, and he said the herbs were created by God in form of plants for human beings to use them to produce medicine. Just as trees were created by God for man to use for furniture. I agree, as long as it meets the human safety standards. That is Ruben from Kisumu. So he is for the idea that maybe our country should also try the concoction from Madagascar. We also have Vincent Malinka from Thika. Thank you so much for tuning in. You're saying desperate situations call for desperate measures, but I think we should wait for the WHO to conduct trials on the herbal concoction. Vincent Malinka from Thika.
Interesting. I have a friend called Torome Tirike, and I'm telling you, he's Maasai. You should see the kind of concoction he takes with his meat. Unbelievable. And he says it takes care of his stomach.
Wow.
Anyway, I don't know whether you've driven along the northern bypass in the last couple of days, because there's something so beautiful that is happening there. You know, some traders in Kiambu have converted their cars into grocery stores, packing and selling them and selling the wares along the northern bypass. You know, last Sunday, there were approximately 53 cars that had been turned into grocery stores in the area. This is just beautiful.
Yeah.
This is just beautiful. Watch this.
Tu unafanya kazi ya taksi. Sasa vile ni kazi ya taksi iliharibika na tena hiyo uoga. Unaona sasa wale watu unakutana naye, unaenda airport nini. Naona hakuna haja uende huko. Fadhali kuje hapa, ushinde hapa, unakutana na mtu mmoja, unauza tray zako 2. Unga ya jioni inapatikana.
Kwa nikiendesha gari ya shule pale Ruiru. Corona ilipokuja shule zikafungwa. Shule zilipofungwa sasa ikawa hakuna lingine ni kukaa nyumbani. Ndio nikakutana na mayanko. Akaniambia tunaanza kuuza ndizi na yeye. Kwa sababu pia gari ilikuwa kazi yenyewe ilikuwa inafanya ilikuwa imekwisha. So tukaona baada ya tulaze gari na sisi pia tukaiva idle tukaamua kuanza kuuza ndizi.
Imebidi tunatafuta side hustle ndio at least tuweze kulisha familia kulingana na vile kuna curfew, lakini lazima watu wakule, unaona. Sasa nikaona ni nini hiyo yenye itakuwa commodity inatumika kwa kila.
People are getting creative there.
True. And that's the reason why I'd said earlier, I like what my brothers from Kiambu are doing. Where I come from, Muranga, remember the other day guys were drinking sanitizers. This is a completely different angle. I mean, people have taken this problem and they've turned it into an opportunity.
Yeah. Beautiful there. Maybe you can also use this opportunity to do what you can do best. Despite the challenges, there is some goodness that can come out of this. Well, the COVID-19 pandemic is causing a lot of changes in our daily lives around the world, not only for you and I, peke yake, no. However, there are things that can be done to maintain a healthy lifestyle in this difficult time. While no food or dietary supplements can prevent the spread of the COVID-19 infection, maintaining a healthy diet is an important part of supporting a strong immune system. We earlier talked to Catherine Mutune, who is a nutritionist, and she just helps us understand how we can maintain a healthy lifestyle even as we stay home. Listen in. Thank you, Christine, for joining the discussion today. And I would like first to know, is there any way that we can boost our immunity during this time of the pandemic?
Thank you, Sarah, for that question. It's important to know that nutrition goes a long way in boosting our immunity. Remember, we are what we eat. So if you're eating healthy, probably you are healthy. So number one, you should eat your vegetables and fruits. Eat fruits that are rich in vitamin C. This include your oranges and also now the rest, the varieties.
Yeah.
Of anything that is in season and is around you and qualifies as a fruit, that is something you should be eating. Yes, when it comes to your vegetables, now try your best to have as many colors as possible.
Colors?
So colors, yes, colors.
Okay.
I know it's not something we think about when you're eating food, but color is important. Picture this. What color are your cabbages? They are white or they can be purple.
Yeah.
What color are your tomatoes? They're red. Your carrots are orange. So strive to have as much color on your plate as possible.
Wow, that is something I personally could not have thought about in that line of increasing my immune.
It's because, now the color is important, is because different types of vegetables give us different kinds of nutrients. And some of these nutrients are indicated by color. For example, vitamin A, which goes a very long way in boosting our immunity, is orange.
Yeah.
So if you're eating your carrots, you're getting your vitamin A. If you're eating your butternut, you're getting your vitamin A. Your sweet potatoes that are orange. All right? So don't just focus on one type of food. I know the mistake that most of us make is that we focus on one type of food. We say we are going to only eat for example, traditional vegetables. Then we miss out on whatever is in the rest, all right? Then the next thing is we need to be eating our legumes and our protein sources, all right?
Yeah.
So legumes, your beans, your ndengu, your what we call the lentils, the green grams.
Yeah.
Jahe, I know not everybody is a fan, but lentils. No, I see you. Yeah.
Yes.
So not all of us are a fan, but legumes are great because number one, they are cholesterol free. There are very few health implications that are attached to eating legumes. All right. But then you can also now have your animal sources of protein, now the eggs and the meat, in moderation.
I like that, in moderation. And there's something you pointed out about fruits and eating fruits that are in season.
Yes.
Kindly elaborate on that.
No, yeah, that's a key thing because a lot of people say, you know, eating fruits is very expensive, that's why I don't do it. So imagine this, how much does a mango cost when it is mango season? It can be as cheap as 5 shillings,
Yeah.
Sometimes we even get 3 for 5 shillings.
Yeah, sure.
Because the mangoes are in season at that time. But then when it's not mango season, mangoes become more expensive. So check out what is available in your market. What is here now? So yes, there are those places where you'd want to treat yourself and have all these other nice fruits.
Yeah.
The strawberries and the grapes and all that. And that's great if you can. In case you're thinking about now eating your fruit and making it as simple and as affordable as possible, check what is in your market, what is available to you.
All right. And what about this notion, and I'm calling it a notion because I've had people talk about it, the issue of drinking what we call dawa, that is the mixture of lemon, ginger, some honey. Is it really helpful when it comes to boosting our immune?
That's a very good question, actually.
Yeah.
Ginger, honey, garlic, all those things that we put in dawa have been seen to have some, not some immune benefits. And especially, let's say you're having a cough or a cold or a runny nose, they really go a long way.
Yeah.
Yes, the other thing you need to remember is even just adding these natural spices to your meals. You know, the garlic, the tangawizi, the cinnamon. It really goes a long way in boosting your immunity.
Okay.
Not just for flavor. Yeah.
What about turmeric? And I'm asking this for all the mothers out there and for the ladies who prepare their food. And there is this notion that maybe if you add naturally grinded turmeric, it can help with the immune system. As a nutritionist and from your professional point of view, is that true?
Of course, we won't say that you should now replace all the medical care that you need with turmeric and ginger.
Yes.
But research has shown that there are chemicals in these nice spices, including turmeric, that boost our immunity and now that have a lot of antioxidants that makes our body stronger.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, now we go to the difficult question, and I know this pierces the hearts of so many. What are these foods that we should avoid during this time? Of course, there is the pandemic, looking at it financially and even our health benefits. What are some of these foods?
First thing, number one, avoid anything that is deep fried, food that is high in fat, there is this what we call trans fats.
Yeah.
All right? When you see a lot of oil brands or cooking oil brands, always say trans fat free. But though they are trans fat free at that time, during the process of deep frying your food, trans fats are formed. And this now of course, they damage your heart and your blood vessels, but they also mess up with your immunity. All right? So avoid anything deep fried. Also, avoid highly refined foods. So your biscuits, your cakes, any high refined sugar, because refined sugar now gives us what we call inflammation. So when it causes inflammation, your body just basically becomes more susceptible to disease, any disease, now including an infection. Yeah.
All right.
The other thing that you should avoid, of course, is alcohol. So in case you're drinking, and this has been said time and time again by the Ministry of Health, if you take alcohol, it lowers your immunity.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. So I'm going to ask you a question that... this one again will affect a lot of people. So how many times in a basic setting, right now people are at home and most of the guys are not going to work, so more time is spent in our kitchen and in the fridge and where the food is basically stored. So how many times am I supposed to make those trips to the fridge? And am I supposed to maybe have a schedule for eating even during this time that I am home?
First, I saw a very funny meme.
Yeah.
It said, place a note on your fridge that says, you are not hungry, you are just bored.
Wow.
Because a lot of the time you notice that you sit around, you're thinking about, all right, what next? First thing, you go to the fridge, you open, you check, you see there is nothing. There was nothing the last time.
Yeah.
There is nothing this time. Okay, so it's a matter of discipline. Let us always remember that food is not our friend. Food is sustenance. You eat food to live.
You don't live to eat.
Yes. So keep that at the back of your mind. Always remember that. Then now just schedule your meals the way you would even on a normal day. When there was no isolation and there was no quarantine and social distancing, how are you scheduling your meals? If you are having 3 meals and 2 snacks, have 3 meals and 2 snacks.
Yeah.
And that also goes a long way to now just maintaining just your mental health, because structuring your day around activities, there is lunchtime, there is work time, it gives you predictability.
Yeah.
So you're able to know this comes after this, and it gives you peace of mind. Yes.
All right, and does this also apply to our children?
Yes, it does. Scheduling is for everybody, because you'd notice that children thrive on structure. When you let children just roam free and you do not set a structure for them, they also start becoming unpredictable and behaving in unpredictable ways. If they cannot predict their surroundings, if they cannot predict what comes next, even with young babies, that's why you find parents being encouraged to put your child on a schedule. It doesn't have to be too rigid, but at least have vaguely, there's time for food, there's time for play, there's time for this and the other. It gives them structure. It goes a long way in developing discipline also, even for the kids. Yes.
All right. Well, thank you so much, my dear, for helping us understand how we can make sure that we stay up and put when it comes to our immune system, and also maintaining our health standards. Thank you so much, Christine, for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
All right. All right. Have a beautiful evening. Well, that was an interesting conversation there with Catherine. And hey, we eat to live. We don't live to eat. And food is not your friend. On
that point, I disagreed with her, because food is. I love food. Food is my friend, and actually, I am starving. I've not taken anything the whole day, and so I was almost calling my wife to tell her something that I should be prepared. But the song that we played before by Limbo said, "Don't call."
Don't call.
So I decided, okay. I won't call.
All right, just be mindful of what you are eating during this time and reduce the number of trips that you might be making to the fridge. We are asking the question, would you allow the government to actually accept and use the concoction from Madagascar? That's the $1 million question today. 0786-316-316 on WhatsApp, SMS line 20316.
Now, there's a very well-known apologist who, these are preachers or teachers of the word who basically defend the faith, who basically reported to heaven yesterday. The renowned Christian apologist Ravi Zacharias, who spent his life defending Christianity through books and lectures, died at the age of 74. Zacharias had been battling sarcoma, which is a form of cancer, and died at his home in Atlanta yesterday. He was a leading figure among Christian apologists, a branch of Christian theology that defends Christian doctrines against objections. He founded the Zacharias International Ministries in 1984 and launched a global team of nearly 100 Christian scholars and authors who continue to speak, resource, train, and address the questions of millions around the world.
On the problem of evil, problem of suffering, a secular philosopher describes it this way. So the Christians believe God is all-powerful.
Yes.
The Christians believe God is all-loving. The Christians know there is suffering. This is a trilemma because it is incongruous. How can an all-powerful and an all-loving God sit back and watch such evil and suffering going on? So he calls it a trilemma. I respond very quickly by saying, why is it a trilemma? because it's also true that God is all-wise. We don't end our theology with God is all-powerful, all-loving, and evil exists. We also believe God is all-wise. And we further believe that God is eternal. You bring just those two elements into the equation, and it changes the paradigm. We know God is all-knowing. And then you take the issue of time. What happens over a period of time? Let me give you a quick example of this. When I was growing up in India, I was a constant failure, repeated failure, because I never applied myself. And then all of a sudden I passed in very high honors and the ability to join the Indian Air Force. Out of 300, they were going to select 10. I came in at number 3. So I sit down in front of this Churchillian-looking wing commander, and he stares at me across the table, and he's asking me a few questions. And then he leans over, and in Hindi he says, "Beta." Beta means son. He said, "Beta, you're a good man, you're a nice man, but I'm going to reject you." Just like that. And I visibly felt my body start to tremble. He said, "This job is about killing, and psychologically you are not equipped to kill." It was a few months after that the opportunity came to migrate to Canada. If I'd been accepted into the Indian Air Force, I was committing for about 20 years. I would never have come here. Never would have had the time to sense the call for God into ministry. Never would have seen the life that God has now given to me to be a persuader and help people understand the beauty of the gospel message. That door was slammed.
Very sad story there. And that is one of the answers that he was giving during an interview that he had before his death.
Yeah, I would be scared if he did the interview when he was dead. Anyway, the thing is, I love, if you listen to him, you finally get to see why we are told to rejoice in every situations that we find ourselves in. He was rejected by the Air Force, and then look at what he has done for the faith. And it's a story of this time. I mean, right now we may be going through whatever it is that we are going through. We may not understand why God has allowed this to happen, but maybe down the years we will get to get a better picture of why this has come and why God allowed it, and how, because of the way it's going to influence and change and impact our lives. We cannot probably see the bigger picture now, but we'll see it sometime later. And he's encouraged so many people, and that's the reason why, like on Family TV and Family Radio 316, you will listen to the likes of Joyce Meyer, Joel Osteen, Pastor Prince, just speaking the word, telling you, by the way, you hang on. Things may not be looking the way you expected them to be looking right now. But hang on, hang in there, because God is all-wise. He's all-knowing, and He's eternal. So He sees the entire picture, while we just see what we are going through. It will get better. Don't give up.
And you know what? This is all made possible by our partners. That's the reason we are still here, and we can still air all those programs that we are airing on Family TV and Family Radio. So if you want to be a partner with Family Media, just send the word partner to 20316, and we will surely get back to you explaining what partnership means and how you can help us carry the gospel of the Lord to the next level. Now let's move on to some positive news. Now, we've seen how this ongoing pandemic has taken its toll across all walks of life, and that certainly includes the servicemen and servicewomen. As stress and pressure becomes daunting, what are we doing? And especially the church leaders, the spiritual leaders, what are we doing to diminish the impact of this pandemic? The U.S. Army chaplains are getting creative in helping soldiers with personal, emotional, and spiritual challenges they might be facing during this time. The Major General Thomas Sogem said spiritual fitness is a major pillar of military readiness.
In rendering service to your country, we have a moral obligation to fulfill, to care for the soul of that soldier. You might have a death of a family member, for example, and you can't go to the funeral, or you have parents that are aged and shut in and you can't get there. We have seen a reporting from our chaplains out in the field that there's been a real increase in a number of different areas for soldiers and their families reaching out to them for assistance, for spiritual direction, guidance, and for religious care as well for those things. It's really a new phenomenon, and I'm really pleased to see how our people have stepped up to embrace the virtual environment in order to really continue to help people to stay connected.
And today's thought is on the importance of small things.
So it's really taught us, I think, to raise the quality of our speaking, of what we offer people in a worship service or setting. They've been even doing things like Zoom potlucks, right? So chapel groups or religious groups, doing virtual potlucks, just wanting to maintain fellowship, because that's a very important connection. So I see it in all of the struggle that people are facing. It's a tremendous opportunity for people to be touched in their lives spiritually that in many ways life as normal may not have produced.
Well, Fred, I feel like this is it's a calling on every spiritual leader, and not just the spiritual leaders. Just be there for someone, support them. If not physical, then maybe you can support them psychologically and even through religion, and help people get through this.
True. We are called to be our brother's keepers, and this is the best time to show what Christ is, what we are made of, or what Christ is all about. And we can only do that by what we do to your neighbor.
Yeah.
That's the only Jesus they will probably see. Now, we have some responses that have come through from Facebook, and I have one by Mwana Mutisia. And you say, I would prefer this Madagascar Jews to the vaccine from the West. And then at this floor you say, sure, we should. If it worked for them, then why not on us? And then John W. Jenga, you say, why not? The problem with us Africans is we do not believe in our products. The West will repackage the same, and we will all be running to the pharmacies to buy the same, so long as it's labeled made in the USA or Britain. Then we have Sarah Kahoya. You say, yeah, I think we should try Madagascar way. Then Mildred Awino Ochieng. You got your laugh there, he. The government cannot. Once they procure it, there will be no funds for Kenya. Then we have Bernard Kwiringira Jafali. You say it has even delayed since its try and error method. Then finally we have Jabali Leo. You say God is the only cure for this thing. Just in case you're wondering what we are talking about, the WHO and the African Union have asked that clinical trials be done on the concoction from Madagascar, which they're using to cure COVID-19. And so we had asked, do you think the government of Kenya should give it a try?
Well, thank you so much for your responses. And we have Pastor Kantai from Lodo also tuning in. Remy Kipchirchir, asante sana for tuning in today. Well, thank you so much for tuning in. My name is Sarah Otieno.
And I'm Frederick Njiri.
And you know what, Fred?
Yep.
Even through this pandemic, we will get it. We will get through it with the help of the Lord.
For this and more of our shows, log on to www.familymediaonline.com to enjoy a wide variety of programs, from current affairs to testimonials and features, pastoral and inspirational shows, kids entertainment, and so much more. Also stream live on www.familymedia.tv.